What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of ILLflips. I'm Jordan Barry-Brown from ILLstrips, and today I just want to go through some interesting stuff I've picked up over the last while, both magazines, paperback covers, and some other good stuff. To start off, I picked up a couple of issues of Mensuel Charlie when in Paris recently. I always pick up a couple of these whenever I'm over, usually in a Pomme by Pomme. There's a lot of good comic stores in the Latin Quarter, so I usually just grab a couple of these because I love the covers, and there's a lot of cool cartoonists within the pages. So this one, what number are we at? 78. Oh no, sorry, it's from July 1978. This is number 114. So it has this kind of Liechtenstein style cover. Can't remember the name of the cartoonist, but we'll find out within. And this magazine debuted in 1969 and ran until 1986, so there's quite a few issues of it. But as I said, there's a pretty wide variety of cartoonists and I suppose humor articles within. So from the get-go, I think this is Picard, George Picard, who always appears in the magazine, and he's kind of known for his humor and erotic art. So I'm just gonna have a little flip through some of these. And it's mostly black and white, but there is some color stuff too. And they're fairly girthy. I think there's like maybe 70 pages, 90 something pages. But it's usually really nice stuff, and you can pick these up for like €5 or something, so they're always worth a pick up. And the magazine got its name from Peanuts, like Charlie, and it had a contemporary magazine called Linus, which started earlier in Italy. Linus and Charlie, and I think Charlie went on to give its name to Charlie Hebdo magazine, which started in, I don't know, when did Charlie Hebdo start? Sometime in the 70s, I think, after Harry Carey. So here's some color stuff, some kind of sci-fi. I'll just go through this magazine in more detail, and then we can have a quick flip through the other ones. Just give you a bit of a taste of what kind of stuff is within. But it really jumps around a lot, style-wise. But it's really full of comics. And no issue is really much better than any other, it just depends. They're all worth picking up. You'll always get something good inside. And usually the cover is like a blown up panel from one of the comics within, so I guess this is the art on the front. I can't see the name of the cartoonist. Maybe Bob Lubers. Trying to see if I can spot the cover. There you go. So that's that, just blown up on the front. Kind of a Liechtenstein color treatment. I always read out the covers. Kind of graphic pop art stuff. This is nice. So that's kind of a full run through of a magazine. There's usually a bit of erotica within as well. and humor, and then there's like a cool back cover also, which is always nice. And then this cover I thought was really cool. I like the black treatment of it. This is number 142, and I think the artist is a guy called Pierre Guiton. It's this kind of pointillism style. I'll do kind of a quicker flip through this. A lot of the time you get some Paperbacks or Munoz on the covers and within, which is always nice. They smell good too. Kind of smell like a cigarette-ridden cartoonist's study or something. There's the cover design within its original panel, which is kind of cool the way it's in that like diamond shape. It's this kind of weird watering can character, which I think is pretty nice. Kind of looks like a little elephant man or something. Some more color stuff. Color pages are not on newsprint, which is where they're kind of on like a really thin, glossy paper. The rest is on newsprint. It's really light. You could almost tear that if you turn the page too fast. But it's cool stuff. It's kind of like marker, color pencil. And then back to the kind of newsprint, more comic strip style. There's usually a bit of peanuts inside. I don't know if there is in this issue. And there's your cover artist again. Yeah, Pierre Guiton. And that's from November 1980. Gonna look at another one of these. It's got this short George Picard cat cover. The eyes of the cat. It's number 62. Most of them usually have, from the start, have this kind of like numbered label on the front, and then it stops at a point. This number's like it's an earlier one, so the earlier issues seem to have the numbers like that on the front. And you can see from the jump it's always just full of different cartoon strips, which is cool. All in French. So not much reading for me going on, but nice to look at anyway. And you get some cool advertisements for film or cigarettes or cars or whatever's going on at the time. Some of it's really simple. And then there's your peanut strip. Good bit of peanuts in this one. But you kind of get the picture anyway. Oh, this guy's always really good. George Picard. So this will be the cover design. And he's kind of known for doing these erotic, busty lady stories like Paulette. And I have another one of his magazines called Borneo Joe, which is nice. And yep, let's try and find the cover piece. There it is. So you can see it's always just a panel blown up and put on the front. He's got this cool kind of pointillism style with a kind of scratchy exterior line, which is nice. And the color is nice too. It's kind of giant lady. But his panel designs are always great. Really nice. So yeah, I'll always just grab, I don't know, 4 or 5 of these whenever I see them, and add them to the pile, and then the back cover. I have one more of these, and this one has a Munoz cover, and this is number 118 from November 1978. And his stuff looks really cool when it's blown up like that, and graphic. More George Picard. He did that Ulysses story also. Well, yeah, his version of the Odyssey. But yeah, they're good for inspiration too. You can just see a whole range of techniques on these pages, so you'll always find something to pull from if you're doing your own cartooning work. I think that's the dude from the last time too, the Pierre Guiton. And there should be some Munoz and Sampaio, probably Alex Skinner stuff in here. Yeah. Try and find the panel from the front. And she's licking her ice cream. His stuff appears on quite a few of the covers, and I always buy those ones. I like his work quite a bit. Yeah, there's the cover, I think, and it seems to be flipped. Yeah. And there's probably a Munoz cover on the back. Sorry, Alex Sinner on the front there. Yeah, and you get another panel blown up on the back, which is pretty nice. These would be nice on like a big wall or something, framed, maybe one day. And this was kind of just a random pickup from the erotica section in Epum Bepum. It's called Bizarre School, and it's pretty rough. Kind of BDSM, black and white stuff. These weird kind of elongated figures, female figures. A lot of whips and chains. But I liked the cover. It was in plastic, but I thought the cover was cool, and I actually thought the back cover was pretty cool too. The way it's kind of the original art. I'll just give you a quick flip through this. It's pretty horny stuff. It's got a bit of a kind of Ben Mara vibe. Something about the rendering on the legs or something reminds me of like Ben Mara comics. Anyway, you get the picture. This was something I was pretty happy to find. I've been looking for it in English for a while. It's Richard Corben and Jean Strand's 1001 Arabian Nights. But it's kind of expensive to find in English. So I picked this up in a poem by poem also, and it's really nice. Richard Corben art. I would like to read this actually, but maybe I can find a cheaper English copy sometime. But the price was good, so I grabbed it. And I've never read 1001 Arabian Nights, but you know some of the stories just from being a kid. There's some cool textures here in the backgrounds, which I liked. Just nice, kind of colorful Richard Corben art. Yeah, like the Last Voyage of Sinbad. A lot of purples, greens. That nice Richard Corben color palette. More of these kind of like textures laid in for screen doors or tiles. Sinbad in the Land of the Jinn. Very nice. Getting some jinn, some Arabic demons. And you don't really see this Corben art around much. I remember seeing it online a while ago and thinking I'd never seen it before. So I was happy to find this, because it's pretty cool. You get a lot of Corben monsters. Some kind of dinosaurs by the looks. These kind of demon creatures. And nice layouts and panels. Stuff to swipe from, possibly. But just the way he even like renders his smoke here and stuff is pretty. It's all just so 3D or something. These monkey creatures, flying bat monkeys. Gotta have the titties for Corben. Also monsters and titties. Strong looking dudes. I feel like I've seen that big lizard creature in some of his other work. And you get this kind of like floating fortress city, which is really cool. I've seen images of that online. But yeah, I love the colors in this. I always like these like vertical panels. He's always good at these, just showing this kind of like height and depth. That's cool. Look at this face. This big like ogre dude. Then you get kind of a weird face like that. Like a heavily rendered like photo reference face, and then just something like that, more just like dashed out. Yeah, these colors are sick. Salamander creature sharing some kind of hookah with a harem of ladies. This is actually kind of my first time going through this, so it's nice to have a proper look. These ILLflip videos can be nice just to have a more detailed look at some of this work. Even the buildings look like big boobs. A lot of his buildings in these kind of stories either have like a penis or kind of boob shape. It's all kind of erotic symbolism within his work. And then you get these like crazy color treatments for like bright lights, some kind of crystal ball. And this was put out by the Humanoid Press, heavy metal, Metallerland, I think in 1978. Look at this smoke and stuff, it's really cool. It's always hard to figure out how he's even doing that back in the 70s. Got some genies. That's wild stuff. There you go. And then just these are like full screens again. And there you have it. Collection Metallerland. And then I picked up the newest issue of the reboot of Metallerland, number 7, which I actually have some work in, so that's kind of cool. I'll just do a quick kind of flip through this. It's pretty chunky. There's a lot in it for your money. They're like just under 20 euros. And I guess it's kind of cartoonists of the day from around the world, and then you have like your founders of the original magazine, Droulet, Mobius, Dionne, and Farka. And it's a pretty wide variety of stuff. I think each issue has a theme, and you've got to tell a story around that theme. I'm not sure what this would be, but this looks really contemporary. I don't know. Not your usual Metallerland kind of vibe, but I guess that's what they're going for. Something a bit new and different. And this is pretty thick, like I said, so I'll do a bit of a quicker flip through. There's a cool Cancor story in here, or not Cancor, but Matt Allison story. It's like a little one-shot. This looks like the Decadent dudes also. Maybe not. Psychotronic video guide. Yeah, so wide range of styles in here also. All sorts of stuff. I'll try and flip to the Cancor story. Actually, I did some just spot illustrations for a short story by Rich Larson, which was fun. A sci-fi story about a bounty hunter and this kind of evil lady. Her pet. pets who are actually her parents. She's turned into these weird mutated pets. So yeah, I just did a couple of illustrations for that. Might do some more comic book work for them soon. Where's the Kank or Matt Allison story, which is actually really nice. Respect, it's called. So Matt Allison, the Chicago artist behind the Cancor series, who has this really great, very sharp style that he does with microns. He's a good follow on Instagram. And this seems to follow some sort of RoboCop character in a kind of Blade Runner style world. It has these strange alien creatures. I'm not really sure what's going on. There seems to be some butchery and kind of erotic shit going on. I need to try and give it more of a read to figure out what's happening. But it's cool looking. And I think he did the color too, and it's pretty nicely colored. These kind of glowing effects. And yeah, you get some of this kind of like, I don't know, some sort of butchery stuff going on with these creatures. Some good eyeball popping stuff coming out of his nose. But it's really nice, it's good stuff. Nice drawing. But yeah, these are pretty thick, and there's all sorts within these pages, which are worth a pickup to have a look. They're on issue 7, so it's not too late to get in early and get the run of issues if you're interested in that kind of stuff. And then it has all the creators listed on the back, which is nice. And then I picked up Murky World, the new editions of the Richard Corben work that Dark Horse are putting out. And I could open this. I haven't opened it yet. I might just crack this guy open and have a little look. Because I saw some interior stuff online. It's looking pretty cool. And they're releasing like the Den hardcovers also. So I'll be getting those. They just look like a nice package. And sometimes this stuff is hard to find in English. The French are always really good at putting out all Richard Corben's work translated, but it's nice to read it also in English. It has this nice shiny foil cover. I might just do a quick flip through this because it's pretty big also. But there's some crazy looking designs in here. Also, just the coloring is weird. Like, it really does look like it's almost kind of digital 3D modeling stuff. But there's some great looking creatures. He's always good with these like monkey baboon kind of characters. And again, as he gets older, this is his last work that he put out. And the titties seem to get bigger as he gets older, and the dudes seem to get more kind of grotesquely muscular looking. But it's mad looking stuff. Just really weird faces. It's really just, I don't know, he's pushing his limits. Bizarre character designs. But I like it. I think there is some, yeah, black and white stuff in the back. Because he'll like do his black and whites and then color over these like heavily rendered black and white drawings. And I think his daughter might do the colors on this. Those guys, they're cool. So yeah, looking forward to giving this one a read. It's pretty big. And then you get some sketch stuff in the back, which is nice. These are almost like the Mensuel sketches at the back of the Hellboy books. And I guess these were the covers for the original. They're in a serialized form, but maybe these were covers for something. Very nice. And then there's the man with a bit about his life, and he passed away in December 2nd, 2020. So that was worth a pickup. And then I picked up a couple of these Leroy magazines from Too Many Comic Magazines Instagram page. He's worth a follow too, and he puts up a lot of like French magazines that you don't often come across. And I like these George Picard covers that we saw some of his stuff in the Mensuel Charlie. And I think this is a pretty old magazine that ran from like 1894 to all the way up to like 1971, so that's a pretty wild run. And just humor, cartooning, and kind of gags and articles. More Picard, but like a much more like, you know, newspaper comic style. And they're pretty thin. They're almost like a little newspaper, and they're very light. But there's some nice stuff inside. I was reading a bit about them earlier on, and it said that they became more popular as the French middle class became more educated and had more leisure time. And I think they usually are quite political also, and anti-Republican, from what I read on Wikipedia. But I don't know, there's a long run of these, so I'm sure they jump around quite a bit depending on what's happening at the time. And then they have a cool back cover also. So I got a couple of these. I'll just show you the covers. They're all George Picard covers. With this kind of almost like 1950s style drawing and color treatment. And it seems to always just have an attractive looking lady and then some dudes in the distance perving on her. But they have nice, I like the colors and just the simplicity of them. So they're fun. And then I also picked these up off Too Many Comics Magazines Instagram page. These are these Teeth FSF paperback books, and they're just sci-fi stories, I think, but with Jean-Michel Nicolet's work on top. And I think he worked on some of these with his wife, whose name is Kalek, who was also an artist. So it has the kind of, you know, classic Nicolet vibe, lots of masks, leather. But I thought these were really nice. And I got 5 of them. I think this is probably more his wife's work, but they seem to be splitting the division of the work in some shape or form. As I said, I think she does layouts and then he does finishings. But some of them are really nice. Just these kind of bold yellow covers. This one's pretty cool. So yeah, those are nice. And I got a couple other paperbacks. Well, actually, I went to the San Francisco bookstore in the Latin Quarter also and found this Steel Savage cover, the American graphic artist. There was really nice covers for these usually science fiction paperbacks. And then there's a Richard Power cover also, which is pretty nice. He does these, like he's got just he seems to have so many different covers over the years, but they're really just these crazy abstract mixed media bizarre sci-fi covers, which are great. And then these I got in another store in the Latin Quarter, one of the BD stores, bande dessinée stores, and they're these like paperback kind of digest size Italian stories, or artists anyway, that are translated into French. So there's kind of this group of them, which are by ILLflips. And so you're just getting very pulpy artwork and themes, like vampires. It's pretty erotic art, a lot of titties. But the art's really nice, actually. The cartooning is cool. So I just picked up, I think they were like $5, €5 each. But I guess Italian Fumetti, which is like Italian comics, and sometimes we refer to Fumetti as photography comics, which I'll show you some of in a minute. But yeah, they're a nice little size, and the art is cool, and they're just kind of weird, which is usually what I gravitate towards, just something that looks a bit unusual, that I haven't seen before, whether it be like the format or the illustration style. And if you can find something like this with a nice cover, usually helps. This is a lot of the vampire stuff. Look at that shit. But I don't know much about these really, but they're nice to look at. I'm not sure who the artist is in here. But this one is called Zara, La Vampire, Le Bal des Noirs. And then this is another title called Wallenstein, which is some kind of mutated looking dude with a melted face. Again, could be the same artist as the last one we looked at. It's definitely the same kind of style. Like sometimes just 2 panels per page, 4 panel page spreads. Real brush kind of inky work. A lot of boobs. But like good draftsmanship. Good feathering on the boobs. Not an easy thing to do. Where's this Wallenstein dude? He's not even in the bloody story. But like, they seem to have a pretty long run on most of these things also. Number 6. And then there's this Tarif color story 2 with this kind of like, I don't know, I guess voodoo occult cover. And this one seems to have a bit of color in it, which is nice. Yeah, pretty adult themes, you know, violence, sex, human sacrifice, occult, ritualistic kind of shit. Shooting dogs. He must be a bad dude. And there was loads of these in the store. I just grabbed a few that I thought stood out, and just to get a bit of a variety of style also. Look at that. Weird. I don't know, it looks like she's conjuring a baby from the beyond, which is pretty disturbing stuff. But interesting to pick up for €5. And it's in one of the better stores, €6 in the Latin Quarter, on Rhodan, if you're looking. And then this one, I think, is just straight Fumetti, like photography, which almost just looks like a porno flick broken down into a comic. Yep, lots of boobs and erotic imagery. Lots of boobs in this one. And so yeah, if you see what I mean, it kind of just looks like, not a porno, but like, I suppose just kind of a sleazy film that's been photographed and then put into comic form, and then they have these like panels. I think fumetto means like little cloud in Italian, which refers to the word balloons. But yeah, like I said, Fumetti is also just like photography comics. So yeah, I only got one of these, I think, just to have, you know, again, the variety of just what was in the store. These little digest naughty picture books, and then let's go a bit of text at the front and some cartoon. Cool cover. And then there was these Jezebel books, which have like a Fumetti or a photograph cover, and then inside is comics, and like a good mix of like color comics. I think this is the one that's some sort of space story with all these women, and it kind of jumps around. Like some pages are in color, some pages are in black and white. Not really sure why, maybe just a print cost thing. But I think the art in this is really nice. And again, it's just that like 2 panels per page. Yeah, this was a nice little find. And I'm guessing this was in Italian first. Sorry, that's my stomach. I'm getting hungry. And they feel kind of hard, and they're really rigid. They almost feel like if you pull them too much, they might just completely crack and fall apart. So there's a lot of like cool sci-fi imagery throughout this issue. And then it all just kind of goes black and white towards the end. Got some creatures. And then these seem to have like just a photograph of a man on the back. I don't know if it's like something to do with the author or the cartoonist. But I have one more than this one. But this is like, the other one was more sci-fi. This seems to be more like sword and sorcery kind of shit. Or even kind of pharaohs. And the color part's nice though, and then the start has this big mammoth, and you get this kind of prehistoric Homo sapiens story. You can hear that like cracky paper. quite, I don't know, kind of hard, thick newsprint. Yeah, a wide range of themes, imagery. I thought they were pretty cool. Jumps around a lot, this one. Obviously they're kind of like back in time to some alien dinosaur planet. It's nice stuff. And then the last book I bought in that store was just this Zacamort, which is a bit in the same vein as Diabolic or Criminal, and it follows this female heroine whose father was murdered by gangsters, and she's a masked assailant in the night, taking revenge on her father's murders, and her nickname is Zacamort, or her superhero name, I guess. And I liked this back cover, which looks like, I don't know, there might have been a TV series or some sort of adaptation, a photograph of her and the Zacamort character. And this, oh, there's some Archie. And yeah, it's kind of a little bit rougher than the other stuff we looked at, but it's cool, it's nice. Just crime stories, like the Criminal and Diabolic, they just kind of digest crime stories. On newsprint in these little pocketbook format. But there's nice little still panels of either just faces or guns or this kind of stuff. Telephones, props in general, this kind of stuff. And then nice screen tones also throughout the black and white art. So yeah, I just grabbed one of those, Zacamort, Bande dessinée pour adultes. This is number 3, so January 1967. So it's all 60s crime stuff. And that's kind of nearly it. Actually, no, I'll just show you. Also picked up these recently, these like digest pocketbook style German sci-fi novellas. Well, they're not even novellas, they're little magazines, and it's all text throughout. So nothing really on the inside, but I just thought the covers were really cool. I think this is one of the longer running, like more popular magazines that came out from that style of digest pocket books. So this is all sci-fi stuff. So I'll just show you the covers for these. And I think this ran for a long time, from the 60s up until the 90s, or maybe even to the present day. I think it jumps around authors and characters. This is a different series called Terra Astra. I just thought the covers on these were really cool. This kind of reptilian creature passing on his bidding to the human race. And then they seem to jump around genre a good bit, so this seems to be like more of a crime series. Thought the cover on this was cool also. You can see the high series count. Another Perry Rhodan, number 243. And this character, which I thought was cool. Can't remember if there's anything on the inside of these. Yeah, that was pretty nice. But again, it's all text throughout in German, so definitely can't read that. But I like the covers, and they were like €2 each or something. And I think a couple of the Perry Rhodan came in a bundle, so I think it was 3 for the price of 1 or something. And I really like this cover. It's really weird. It's kind of robot spider demon creature. And this seems to be another series called Silber Gruzel Creamy. I don't know. And again, this like tarantula kind of heroine, which kind of reminds me of the Alexis Zerrett comic Tarantula. I wonder if he I was looking at some of this stuff when he made that. Some little illustrations inside. More Perry Rhodan. And there's like a Western series. Bastei seemed to be another publisher, so they seem to have a Western series. Golden Mary. And then they have this really cool Professor Zamora series, which I just like the cover design on this, and that's from the film The Demon, 60s Italian horror film. And the last one is another one from Bastei called Demon Land, which seems to have some kind of Baphomet or demon creature in with a bunch of witches. And then you see your classic Universal characters are up on the top, some of them anyway. Some cool title pages. So yeah, that's about it. So a bunch of weird stuff. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.